Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's JikGeek in the Week. This is our first of 2025, and what an eventful year this is shaping up to be in the world of Marvel, in the world of George R.R. Martin. Sorry, that's how I know the audio's coming in clutch. So where was I? What an eventful year this is shaping up to be in the world of Marvel, in the world of George R.R. Martin, all things A Song of Ice and Fire, and in the world of Final Fantasy as well. So if you joined us in the chat, great to have you with us as always. Smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. It's free and it lets me know that I'm pumping out good quality content for you all. What's up, Luke Goblin? What's up, LG? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. We are going to kick things off straight away with, we're going to jump in actually first to the Captain America Brave New World trailer. I have watched it a couple of times. I kind of just want to touch on it again though. Then we'll go through the Deadpool trailer, which I am absolutely buzzing about. Now, probably apart from Infinity War and Endgame, and maybe the Captain America films, the old Captain America trio, that is, Deadpool is by far, it's probably top 3 things that Marvel have ever pushed out. So I'm absolutely buzzing to see this come back, and I'm buzzing to see that it's a continuation of what we had with the Netflix series, because that was arguably perfect television. So yeah, if you join us in the chat, make sure you're letting me know what your thoughts are on Marvel in 2025. What's going to be the best piece of content that they're going to throw out? Is it Captain America? Is it Daredevil? Is it something like Fantastic Four, if we get that later on this year? Is it something else? I know there's a couple of other things that they're likely to bring out this year, but I think those are going to be the main hitters, right? Those are going to be the things that make or break Marvel this year, because what I suspect is, especially Fantastic Four, that's going to kick off the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom saga, and that's going to eclipse everything that we've seen in phases 4 and 5. Anyway, we'll get to that in a moment when we start going through these trailers, because I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm hyped for this sort of stuff. And yeah, I haven't done a trailer reaction on the channel in absolutely ages. So I think we're just going to dive in. LG, great to see you in the chat, man. Hope the stream went well earlier for yourself. I'll be here not knowing a damn thing you're about to talk. Well, that's what I'm here to kind of explain to you all, for those that don't really know Marvel. I know I've been dropping out a lot of Final Fantasy content recently, ever since Christmas Day. And yes, it has been the focus, but there are some things cooking up behind the scene with regards to Game of Thrones, with regards to the A Song of Ice and Fire stuff, and they're just kind of slow, really. I am slow getting content out, and I do apologise. I do have a lot of Final Fantasy content recorded. I've just got to edit it, so that's some more opportunities in the future. Equally, I've got a lot of ideas which I planned to do at the back end of last year, but I think, just like George Martin, the can gets kicked down the road. So some Winds of Winter stuff is on the way. I've got a Bran Stark video lined up. I just need to finish the script on and then get it all recorded and edited, and then I can push that out for you all. That's going to be the start of a new Winds of Winter series. What else? I've arguably got loads of content lined up with the Hardcore Nuzlocke. Yeah, I've got to pump out a couple of videos for that. And equally, I've got 2 challenges recorded already. One is a solo FFX challenge. That's probably about 50, 60 hours of content that I need to edit down. Probably going to do an edited series. And then the other one is an absolutely colossal challenge I've done for FFX, and I've probably got about 90 hours worth of footage recorded for that, so I need to get that edited down as well. They're just massive projects, and I've got a lot going on. I don't know if I've shared with you, I'm doing an apprenticeship at the minute, so that's been taking up a lot of my time at the back end of last year, but that's coming to a bit of a hiatus for the next couple of weeks, so hence why the content is starting to pump out. And I do want to try and get a balance between home life, work life, and YouTube life more this year. That's kind of like the top resolution really for me on the channel, as well as growing it and pumping out good quality content for you all that you want to see. But I've taken a look at the data and what you're all responding to on the videos, on the live streams. And it's just great to, this sort of podcast, it's also great to connect with you all. Let me know your thoughts on the content. Let me know what you like seeing, what you don't like seeing, and just giving me some ideas if you've got anything for the channel. But also kind of touching base with you all, telling you what's to come, telling you my ideas for the future, and then jumping into, the next big thing from Marvel or from George Martin or from Game of Thrones. We've got a couple of things to talk about in that universe, or from Final Fantasy as well. I don't think there's much Final Fantasy coverage to talk about, but as and when there is, I'm going to try and get in one of these podcasts at least once a month. So that was my spiel for the introduction, right? I'm going to stick around for about 45 minutes. I think that's probably all we'll need tonight. And then we'll try and get some more live streams with the Final Fantasy X Hardcore Nuzlocke in this week as well, because I know a few of the regulars, specifically you, LG, in the chat, you've been enjoying that, and I've been loving it so far. It's a tough challenge, but, look, I'm an avid fan of the Final Fantasy No Sphere Grid stuff, so it's kind of the upper echelon of those sorts of challenges now. And it's something I'm proud to bring to the FFX community, the Final Fantasy community. Anyway, enough about Final Fantasy. Today is all about Marvel and kind of the George Martin, A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones sphere. So looking forward to kind of bringing that to you all and diving straight in. So I think without that, we're just going to dive in now. Let's just quickly touch on this article from IGN. So, what to expect from Marvel in 2025. And by the looks of it, there's quite a lot. Now, as you can see from, let's just get a full screen here. As you can see from the video, what we started there was with Doctor Doom. And Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Doctor Doom, which is, in one hand, for me, is a bit of a surprise because he's now gone from hero to villain. But I've got a feeling that it's not all that is not all that meets the eye, right? Yes, I think he's coming back as Doctor Doom, and yes, he's going to be the major bad. But is he going to be one of these complex villains like we had with Thanos, or is he going to be even more complex? Is he arguably going to be seen as almost like an anti-hero? And in order to kind of save the universe, he needs to, I don't know, destroy the multiverse or something like that, and only have one sort of Marvel universe going forward. Maybe that's what he's here to do. And in his eyes, he's the hero, much, I guess, like Thanos was in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Who knows, right? But they could go kind of a few ways with Doctor Doom. The one way I hope they don't go, though, is just down the road of a bog standard villain. What I hope that they do is bring some sort of complexity to his character. And no doubt, because we've got Robert Downey Jr. almost at the helm of that villain, I have no doubt that that's going to be the case. But apart from Doctor Doom, which we are going to see in Fantastic Four, what else will we see from Marvel in 2025? So let's just go through this. Although some of the big releases on the horizon for Marvel are far away for now, like the two-part multiverse saga conclusion Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, there's still plenty for fans to keep them occupied in 2025. Now, occupied is a great word, but whether that's good content or bad content, I'm yet to be convinced, really. The only thing I think I am buzzing about now, having already watched the trailer, is the Daredevil Born Again stuff. But we can go through that, and I could try and break down bits and pieces here and there. So, for major film releases like Captain America Brave New World and the Fantastic Four First Steps, new Disney Plus series like Daredevil Born Again or Marvel Zombies, and plenty of other new comics to choose from, there's more than enough media for Marvel Manics to sink their teeth into. So Marvel Zombies, from what I understand, is from the comics, but it's also an expansion, I imagine, of one of the season 1 What If episodes that we got. So I think they're just going to expand that universe, maybe. But I have got a similar chat poll in the live chat. If you want to take a guess as to what is going to be kind of on top for Marvel in 2025, what's going to be the best. Already we've got one vote saying something else. So other than, I personally think it's going to be Daredevil. I just really hope that they land that. Now, 2024 was a small year for Marvel. I'm just actually starting to read this. With only Deadpool being the Deadpool and Wolverine being the only MCU film released theatrically. There were other offerings like Venom, which I watched and I was very disappointed with. Kraven the Hunter was incoherent as a story, and there was What If as well around Christmas time, which was very, very, very woke, if I'm honest, and very disappointing. But this year, first up, we've got Captain America Brave New World releasing on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That's the 4th Cap film in the franchise, and the first set to star Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson in the title role. Now, I kind of feel sorry for Anthony Mackie, really, because he's a great little actor. But equally, I don't think they've done him justice by giving him the title of Captain America. What I would have preferred is they just giving him the title of Falcon, as he was in the Marvel days, and then just giving him the shield. Or I would have actually preferred that they just give the shield to Bucky and call Bucky as he was in the Marvel. Yeah, and just call Bucky the new Captain America, because arguably, to me, that whole setup of Bucky was there from the start. You know, he was Captain America's arch nemesis. He was his best friend. Then he had that redemption arc. So it's a shame, really, that they gave it to Sam Wilson. What's up, Varga? Great to see you in the chat, man. It's a shame that they gave it to Sam Wilson. And, yeah, I mean, I would have massively preferred Bucky. One, I think it would have tied up his arc very nicely to have gone from the Winter Soldier to Bucky Barnes and then to Captain America. And I think that was a more successful run in the comics, from what I understand. We'll actually have to get a dedicated MCU podcast done, and we'll have to bring Beat the Leak back on, because I'm dying for him to come back on and give me his take on Marvel in 2025. The thing is, though, we've got Anthony Mackie. However, I just haven't bought into him being Captain America. And equally, what didn't do him justice or didn't do him any favours was the poor quality that they gave him with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because 1, it was poorly done. 2, the villain was poor. 3, the storylines were poor. I think 4, the acting wasn't very good. 5, they kind of undermined Bucky as a character as well. And 6, he's just not a very good Captain America. You know, what is Captain America? In my eyes, Steve Rogers is Captain America. And you've got to have the super serum to be Captain America. It's not just a symbol for me. It's not just a shield. I guess it's a combination of Steve Rogers' personality, the fact that he's got that super serum and he can do what he does, and probably the way he goes about things. He just gets shit done as well. Now, at the moment, I haven't seen any of those things from Anthony Mackie, and it's not Anthony Mackie's fault. It's not his version of Captain America's fault. It's Disney Marvel putting him in these poor situations. Will he redeem himself in Captain America Brave New World? Well, we're going to get to that trailer in just a moment. So I'm not going to read too much more about Captain America. We're just going to jump into... We're not going to go through all of this, right? I'm just going to jump into kind of some overall thoughts, really, about the different projects that we're going to see. So the next is the Thunderbolts with the star, and I'm fully up for these being the Dark Avengers or some form of kind of that play on words, really. That's the only reason I would see them having this asterisk being baked into the title. Even Varga is saying in the chat, I'd prefer Bucky to have been Captain America. Fully agree, Varga. And to be honest, it would have made a hell of a lot more sense. And I think he would have been a far better Captain America, because Bucky now is kind of a bit of a sideline character. He doesn't really have a purpose in the Marvel roster. Whereas Falcon was, in my eyes, a very, very well-established character. And they have took that away from him. Like, we don't have Falcon anymore. We've got Captain America and we've got Bucky Barnes. So it really just made sense for us to, for him to hand the shield over to Bucky. So the Thunderbolts basically is Marvel's attempt at pulling together the Suicide Squad like DC have done. It's going to be basically a hodgepodge, bring together this camaraderie of nobodies that we've seen from various Phase 4 and 5 Disney Marvel products. The only one that I'm kind of really interested in is John Walker, who played Captain America in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And he did an exceptional job at that, to be fair, albeit John Walker does not have super serum powers. The rest of them have either, I mean, apart from, Bucky Barnes, but that's the thing, right? He's not regarded as the Winter Soldier anymore. He should have been regarded as Captain America. Now he's just Bucky Barnes. And it's kind of, it almost diminishes his character. It almost kind of makes him feel a bit second base. So, I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence about the Thunderbolts. I think it's going to be a bit of a disaster because the rest of them are kind of nobodies from their films or rip-offs from the characters that they've tried to emulate from previous Marvel products gone by. Like Yelena Belanov is basically an Aldi version of the Scarlet, not the Scarlet Witch, of what's Scarlett Johansson's character, the Black Widow. Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. Bucky Barnes is basically a discount Captain America. Red Guardian has just been shit on basically by Marvel. He's a bit of a laughing stock from the Black Widow film. John Walker is probably, is my only interesting character out of this roster. Hannah John Kamen as the Ghost. I don't even know where the Ghost is from. Is that from maybe... I'm going to have to look up that, where the Ghost is from. And then we've got Olga Kurilenko as Taskmaster, again from the Black Widow film. So they're bringing back a lot of characters from the Black Widow film. That was an absolute disaster, which is a shame, really. And I think the worst out of the lot of them is the discount Nick Fury in Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, who tries to be funny, tries to be cool, tries to be charismatic, but it just don't work for her. And if you don't know who she is, check out Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's the lady in the dark hair that kind of appears towards the back end of the season. Now, the interesting character, or the potentially interesting character, is the Sentry. Now, let me just double check who the Sentry is. I think the Sentry, we should have probably done a trailer reaction to the Thunderbolts, but I think we've already done that. Let me just get my bearings here. I think, we've also got that character called Bob as well, which just, again, they're just trying to be funny here, but they're just not yeah, they're just going the wrong way about it. So the Sentry I'm going to have to read up on because I'm not too sure who that is. But the Thunderbolts, I've got a feeling they're going to be called the Dark Avengers or some form of the kind of that play on words by the end of that film. And I've got a feeling this is going to be a poor film. I've got a feeling this is going to bomb because it's just full of nobodies, full of characters we don't care about in the Marvel Universe, and full of almost, characters that Marvel have shit on in the past. So, from a film point of view, lastly, the third film we're going to see in 2025 is Fantastic Four Next Steps. Now, they did release actually a kind of snippet or a bit of a trailer, I think, or it could have been some sort of leaked trailer and we got that cool as hell shot of Galactus at the end of the trailer. You might be able to just look that up on YouTube. I can't remember if it was a leaked trailer or leaked footage, but something came out and it showed the Fantastic Four. They don't look that bad, to be fair. I've got to be honest. They look pretty spot on in terms of the. Let me see if we can get something from here. Yeah, they don't look that bad. I mean, this guy on the left, he's the really aggressive guy from The Bear. If you've watched The Bear on FX, this guy in the middle as Johnny Storm, he seems like a bit of a. He doesn't come across as Johnny Storm to me. Like he doesn't come across as that cheeky lad with a bit about him. But I know Pedro Pascal is in literally fucking everything these days. But him as on one hand, him as Mr. Fantastic, it's actually quite a good casting choice, I think, because Pedro Pascal is very charismatic and he comes across as a real authoritative figure. And I think he'll match up very well versus Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. On the flip side, it's going to be a bit confusing seeing as we've already had Mr. Fantastic played by John Krasinski in the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness film. So it's going to be, and this would have been now like the fourth Marvel Mr. Fantastic we've got. And of course, Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman. I think it's a great casting choice. She looks like the Invisible Woman, and I think it's a crowd pleaser, right? This Joseph Quinn, he's the guy from The Bear. Sorry, he's not the guy from The Bear. He's the guy I don't know much about. And the Thing is the guy from The Bear, sorry. Ralph Ineson as Galactus. So it's confirmed that Galactus is in this. Now, I guess the one thing that kind of leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth is the fact that they have given Julia Garner, who plays that great part from what's that one now with Jason Bateman? God's sake, I need to just pull that one up. Jason Bateman. Ozark. Great show that was. Julia Garner plays a cracking part in Ozark. She's actually going to be the female Silver Surfer. And that just leaves a slight bad taste in my mouth. They didn't really need to do that. And I reckon they've done that on the argument of identity politics. But we'll see. We'll see if she kind of plays a good Silver Surfer. So it's not a bad cast. It's a very strong cast, if I'm honest. And I just hope they land the story. I hope they land the multiverse element of this, because I think we're going to also see either a tease or a cameo or some sort of introduction to Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom, but also as Doctor Doom in that film. Now, when Beat the Leak was last on JikGeek in the week, what we also had confirmation of is that Fantastic Four First Steps is going to tie into the first Avengers, what's it called? So many bloody products coming out now. Avengers Doomsday film. So Fantastic Four First Steps is going to lead directly into that up-and-coming Avengers film. How they pull that off, I ain't got a clue. They're going to have to do some real multiverse shenanigans to pull that one off. Lastly, if you're a fan of the TV, I think there's an absolute bucket load of stuff coming out. So we've got Daredevil coming out in the start of March. That should be absolutely buzzing. And I think I'm going to try and do weekly episode reviews, or at least do a kind of post-episode review. Now, if you haven't watched season 1 and 2, I absolutely implore you to go and do that because, sorry, 1, 2, and 3, seasons 1, 2, and 3, because this is a continuation. It's almost a season 4 of what happened in that Netflix series. And it's arguably the best thing that Marvel, the best thing that Marvel have done outside of Infinity War and Endgame and Captain America Winter Soldier. It's amazing. And Vincent D'Onofrio playing Wilson Fisk just plays an unbelievable version of the Kingpin. Amazing. And then you've got Karen and Foggy returning, and then you've got John Bernthal coming back as the Punisher, who's actually got a spin-off show. I'm yet to watch that, so I might get a watching of the Punisher before then. I think I might make that my next TV show that I catch up with. But the reason I say you've got to watch it as well is because they introduce a villain at the end of season 3 of Daredevil called Bullseye. He's not called Bullseye at that point, I don't think, but they introduce him, and I think I'm so glad that they've continued this season almost as a season 4. We won't talk about Ironheart much because I have no love for that character, and we've got Marvel Zombies, which should be all right. I mean, what if season 1 was really good? The Marvel Zombies episode was actually decent. Then we've got this Wonder Man series, and for the normies, and really for someone like me who isn't, a massive Marvel film, I've been brought into Marvel through the cinematic universe, but I don't know who Wonder Man is, and to be quite frank, I don't care. So I think that's going to be a bit of a flop as well. That's probably just going to be content over, where does it say here? Yeah, over the December Christmas period. Now, it looks like there's a couple of other shows, but in terms of the TV, they've got Eyes of Wakanda animated miniseries going on as well in August. Really, in terms of the TV, the only thing really to call out is going to be Daredevil Born Again in March. So the rest of the TV slate looks kind of terrible. And then they talk about some comics. All right. What we'll do is then we'll jump straight into the Captain America Brave New World trailer. I just kind of want to run through that. I tell you what, actually, I'm just going to just bear with me. I'm just going to make a new window. But I'm actually going to flip that. So just bear with me, because I don't want to get copyright strike. Should have done this at the start. So this is going to be a backwards looking trailer, but I shouldn't get copyright strike or the stream taken down if I start playing this now. So let me know if it's a bit too loud in the chat as well. I did test it earlier and it sounded okay because I've turned the sound down on OBS as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll jump straight into the trailer. And if there's anything decent, I'm going to pause and just let you know my thoughts. So we'll try and run it in like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 second bursts. Go through it once and then kind of backtrack over in, go through it for 5 or 10 minutes. So without a doubt, Captain America Brave New World official trailer, reaction and review.
You know I've been no fan of heroes, but even I can't deny the good that you've done. Work with me, Sam.
Oh, that looked cool then. So we've got Harrison Ford as General Ross. He's just a recast from the guy that played General Ross in the Avengers films. And then
Can't deny.
some decent action shots, to be fair. But what the story's going to be about, I think, is going to be about this. Now, what I think this is the Celestial known as Tiamat, which was what happened at the end of the Eternals films. Haven't watched the Eternals. I've got no interest of watching the Eternals. I don't suggest you watch the Eternals. Apparently it's really bad. But this kind of Celestial is in the middle of the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean, just chilling there. And I reckon it's all about obtaining whatever metal, either adamantium, which is, I think, what Captain America's shield is made of. Is it? I think it is. I think that's the name. I think that's kind of what this is going to be about. It's going to be about resources from this Tiamat.
Work with me, Sam.
And it looks as if the government have taken control of Tiamat. Already, though, it's giving me Winter Soldier vibes. And I hate to say this, but there is no way that they can pull off a Winter Soldier 2.0, because the best part about the Winter Soldier film was arguably the relationship between Captain America Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. Now, already we're introduced to quite a lot of characters there. This guy was from Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I believe this guy here is the new Falcon. He's taking Anthony Mackie's place as kind of the Falcon-esque role in the MCU. So there's that guy again from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They talked as if in that show, excuse me, as if this guy, I think his name was Isaiah Brown or something like that. They talked as if he was an ex-super soldier.
Stand by for proof of death.
And, quick story about Gus Fring. I'm going to refer to him as Gus Fring going forward. Quick story about Gus Fring. In the original story for Captain America Brave New World, this guy was not in the script. And it reeks basically that they needed to bring in some other villain, because he's everywhere at the minute. He's played Gus Fring in everything since Breaking Bad, and he basically just looks like he's playing Gus Fring in this as well, except with a gun. Now, I'm excited to see this guy, and I can't remember what his name is. I should have done my research before this, but he's going to be one of the bad guys in this film, I take it. I don't know what his motives are going to be. I don't know if it's going to be targeted at Captain America, or if it's going to be targeted at General Ross, or if it's going to be targeted at the government. That's yet to be seen.
Your inner circle's been compromised.
It looks as if he's targeting the government, and I think General Ross is probably going to send Anthony Mackie out to kind of fight this guy as a bit of a government operative.
But you don't want to. The country's on the...
There you go. That's not exactly a clear shot, but there's something majorly big in the water, and I think that's the Celestial from the Eternals.
Brink of war. There's someone behind all this. Watch yourself.
Hang on. Is that doesn't look like Zemo. Zemo can't return again.
Someone behind all this. Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
He clearly isn't Steve Rogers. I mean, I'm not being funny. It's basically Captain Falcon, but it's not Captain America in my eyes. It's Falcon with the Captain America shield. Such a shame they didn't give it to Bucky Barnes. That's cool, though. One symbol stands for all.
America.
I mean, that's a cool landing, right? Where is it? Let me get the shot. That looks really cool, but it just looks like Falcon in a Captain America suit with the shield.
America. Caught without his wings.
Now we get the big reveal, the big red reveal, the Red Hulk.
Come and get me.
I have no clue as to why the Red Hulk would be in this film and why General Ross would want to take that super serum. Maybe Captain America is being defiant of the government. Maybe Captain America doesn't do what he's been asked to do. Maybe he's on the side of Gus Fring. Or maybe General Ross just takes it and says, fuck it, let's see what happens. I kind of think it's a bit of a weird insert in this film, and I can't see, again, the motivation behind why he would want to transform into the Red Hulk.
Captain America, Brave New World. Make sure the suit's ready.
Tell me I don't make your old gear look brand new. Who's saying that? Everybody. Everybody is saying.
I mean, look, it don't look bad. It doesn't look great. So, and we haven't got long to wait, right? We've only got like 3 weeks to wait for this. So let's see. And I know there's been a lot of money pumped into reshoots. I know there's been a lot of money pumped into marketing. From what I understand, this film has got to gross $1 billion to just break even. And I can't see this. I can't see it happening. Not unless it's basically as good as, if not better than, The Winter Soldier. Will this gross $1 billion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, though. Right, just for the sake of it, I'm just going to get up my Daredevil Born Again trailer. Let's just get the adverts out of the way. So I have watched this a few times. This is not a blind reaction, right? But I do want to go through it. And yes, again, it's backwards, just so I don't get copyrighted. Now, Daredevil Born Again official trailer reaction. Let's go. Already, it's looking like I'm already getting the vibes of Daredevil from the Netflix show, seasons 1, 2, and 3. Already.
Thank you for finding the time.
Oh, that is the power right there of the king. He is born to play the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
This looks already. I'm getting good vibes.
Passed, by the look of it.
So we've got Foggy and we've got Karen from the Daredevil Netflix show. These are Daredevil's kind of lawyer counterparts. Karen kind of opts as a bit of his girlfriend as well now and again, but I don't think that's the case at the moment. They're kind of just all friends. But I'm so glad they brought these two back, Foggy and Karen, because they weren't originally meant to be coming back for this Daredevil Born Again. It was meant to be kind of a reboot of Daredevil, but I think they got to like shooting episode 6 and Disney pulled the plug on the lot and just said, no, we've got to redo it. I think for once they've actually listened to the fans, because I was clamoring as well for them just to continue what we saw on Netflix. Absolute perfect television that was.
You've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
I like that though. I like this kind of like slow, kind of dark conversation between these two. Are these going to be enemies? Are these going to be friends? Are these going to be frenemies in this season? Are they going to have a common foe that they've got to take down? See, I mean, it kind of seems that way.
Same about you.
serves his city.
Oh, he's the mayor now. That's
I see
interesting.
you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me?
From what I remember from Spider-Man the animated series, I think the Kingpin was the mayor then as well. I could be wrong.
I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Oh, a line was crossed. I wonder what that's going to be, actually, this line that was crossed. Maybe Karen or Foggy or both. Maybe one of them dies. I haven't heard anything. Maybe he has to kill someone he loves. I'm just thinking of some options, really, off the cuff. Yeah, maybe he's kind of forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. Maybe he's forced to do something either good for bad reasons or bad for good reasons. Because he's quite a moralistic guy, actually. Charlie, you know, Daredevil in this, but in kind of human form. And actually, we've got the mask here with the horn missing. So, yeah, mate, I'm thinking he's probably had to do something he didn't want to do.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Maybe that's this is the line that was crossed here, and this is the line that was crossed.
Hating the power it has over us.
I reckon that's the line that was crossed. So this guy, this is why I wanted to stop on him. I think this is the Bullseye from season 3. So we only get a glimpse of him in season 3 as Bullseye. I think it was a long time since I've watched the Netflix show. So go back and check that out. I think I'm going to try and check out Daredevil season 3 before I watch this, just to get up to speed about where things are before I watch Born Again. But this guy was definitely the villain in season 3 as well. So I'm so glad they're continuing that and they're bringing him back for what is in effect Daredevil season 4.
This city can't go unchecked.
This is already giving me massive vibes from what we saw before. It's literally like the next season of the show. It looks so cool. So dark, so gritty. Perfect. It's the perfect kind of vibe. The devil's work is never done.
Peace needs to be broken. And chaos must reign.
So actually, I think though... So I'm unsure whether this is Bullseye. I don't think it is. I think this is another villain that they're bringing in from the comics. And again, I'm going to have to touch up on who this is before we start reviewing Daredevil Born Again. But I think this is definitely another villain from the comics that they're bringing in.
Must reign.
So we've got Kingpin there with his Mrs. Vanessa, who may be pregnant. Oh! Frank Castle's back. I love it. We got the Punisher as well. Season 2 with him and Daredevil was peak Marvel television. I'm so glad they brought him back. And quick little side thing. John Bernthal has even said he would not come back unless this script was good enough for him to return. So they've either must have paid him an absolute fortune, or it's a seriously good storyline that they've got cooked up for him in the first season.
Mind putting the hatchet down?
Nice.
I was raised to believe in grace.
Is that? I wonder who that might be. I reckon that's some relation of Kingpin.
Grace.
So there we go. There's the Bullseye costume I know from the comics.
But I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Oof, that's a cracking shot of all of his masks. This just looks perfect from what we've saw before. So I reckon this is later on in the show, him versus that new, what looks like a new villain. But then I think this scene in what looks like someone's kitchen. I reckon this scene in the kitchen is arguably what is probably going to be at the start and what convinces him to turn that vigilante life to stop being a vigilante. Yeah, this looks absolutely fire. Can't wait for this. Can't wait. Can't wait. Right, you're just going to have to give me a sec, folks. Just bear with me. Right, I'm back. Yep, Daredevil, Born Again, looks absolutely incredible. Absolutely buzzing for that. Right, where are we going to next? So let's get back to normal screen. Right. So 2025 for Marvel. We've got Captain America Brave New World, which probably looks a 6 out of 10 for me. Partly because he's not Captain America. Partly because I don't know where the film's going to go. Partly because I'm on the fence as to whether or not it's just going to be Winter Soldier 2.0. Daredevil Born Again looks absolutely fire. When we do another podcast, I'll try and get up that Fantastic Four footage, because it shows Galactus at the end, which I'm buzzing about. That should be good. The rest of it, I'm kind of on the fence about. Thunderbolts is probably going to flop. The TV shows, apart from Daredevil, are probably going to flop. So, coming off the back of the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel in 2025 looks about 50-50. I think the good stuff is going to be great, like Daredevil and Fantastic Four, and I think the bad stuff is going to be exceptionally bad, because we've got Ironheart, we've got all sorts of other kind of crap that no one cares about, Wonder Man, all that stuff. Maybe even Captain America Brave New World falls into that category. I really hope it doesn't. We'll see, though. So, really interesting to see what you all think about Marvel in 2025, what you think the current state's looking like, and what you think this whole Doctor Doom saga is going to be like. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be disappointing? Is Secret Wars, the culmination of all this multiverse shenanigans? Is it going to be as good as Infinity War and Endgame? I don't think so, because I don't think they've set it up and developed the story as coherently and and as slowly as they could have. Marvel had basically 3 seasons, 3 phases for all of this. They had like 18 films up to this point to get to Infinity War and Endgame. What's going to go to Doomsday is probably a handful of crap films and probably a handful of decent to great films, but that's not enough. That's nowhere near enough to set up this major story arc with Doctor Doom, unless they introduce him in Doomsday, in Avengers Doomsday, and then there's kind of half a dozen films that bridge that gap between that and Secret Wars. Maybe. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, right, for Marvel in 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm kind of chomping really at the bit to understand what your thoughts are, because I'm really on the fence. And I think it sums it up from what I've just said. The good stuff's going to be great. The bad stuff's going to be really bad, and as bad as what we've seen in phases 4 and 5. So I'm really hoping they knock it out the park with Daredevil. If I'm honest, I'm really hoping that Captain America Brave New World isn't as bad as we think it's going to be, but I think I'm going to be disappointed. So in the chat, we got the votes coming in. Daredevil Born Again, 33%. Fantastic Four First Steps, 33%. And Something Else, 33%. What's up, Beak? What's up, Andy? Back to JikGeek in the week. Yes, sir. To be introduced, Fantastic Four and a lot of other films up to it. We'll have to get you back on, Beak, to give us all the leaks and all the updates, man. We'll have to do another one soon when we're both free. So, really hoping, that they knock Deadpool out of the park, and really hoping that Fantastic Four lives up to the hype, really. I'm really hoping that Galactus is going to be a major part of that. I'm really hoping that they don't shit all over the Silver Surfer. And I'm really hoping that the introduction of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is as epic as it should be, because RDJ has what made, or is arguably one of the 2 cornerstones behind him and Steve Rogers that has made Marvel where it is today. Honestly, for sure, man. We'll get a Jik and a Beat the Leak podcast special on the go. We'll bring you on. You've always got some great insight into the world of Marvel, so it'd be great to have you on, pal. Right, I think as for Marvel, that's kind of all I wanted to cover, really. So we'll get the poll finished, and we'll get a new poll up about the George Martin stuff, because there's quite a bit to talk about, and I'm going to try and wrap this up in 15 minutes. Looking forward to. Now, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm buzzing about that. The Winds of Winter, if we get it. Right, we've got the new chat poll in the live chat now. So what are you most looking forward to in the world of George Martin, in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, in the world of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, all that good stuff? To kick things off with a bit of bad news, though, is before Christmas, George provided a very, very disappointing update on the future of the Winds of Winter. Now, this is one perspective, right? And fans have gone absolutely mental over this. I'm just going to quickly read some of this because I'm not going to go through all of it. So, George Martin does not know if he'll ever finish The Winds of Winter, the next book in the Song of Ice and Fire fantasy series. Martin released the last book, A Dance with Dragons, 13 years ago, and while the TV series may have concluded with its rather rushed and disappointing ending, that is an understatement. The fans of the books have been waiting for Martin to come up with the latest instalment and give his take on the ending. So I think there's a number of factors at play here, which we'll go into quickly. But let's just get through this bit. Unfortunately, Martin said, I am 13 years late. Every time I say that, how could I be 13 years late? I don't know. It happens a day at a time. But it's still a priority. A lot of people are already writing obituaries for me. They're saying, oh, he'll never be finished. Maybe they're right. I don't know. I'm alive right now. It seems pretty vital, he added. Quizzed about retirement, Martin said that he could never retire as he's not a golfer. Social media users were left disappointed by the update from Martin, with some saying that he had made final peace with the fact that he may never finish the book in the series. As disappointing as this is, at least we don't have to wait anymore. It ain't coming, one user said, while another said George is the kind of guy to keep saying he's almost finished. A third comment said he's been talking about The Winds of Winter since before Game of Thrones even came out, so I'm betting he'll never get it done. Now, my take on this, and I know we've spoken about this a lot on the channel, is multifold. He's got all of this success now through the show. He's got the spin-off shows. He's got other books to write apart from The Winds of Winter. He's, as in other books to write apart from The Winds of Winter in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. He's got other books to write and publish and do whatever else with outside of the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. He's also now got stuff like, what's that show that I've got the article on? In the Lost Lands, which is something that he's kind of took from one of his old pals and made a bunch of shows on, or made a show on. So he's got that distraction. He's got the fame part of it. He's got, probably time spending his money. He's got time being a celebrity. He's got too many distractions. And that's why it's took him 13 years. The first major distraction was him being brought on as a consultant on Game of Thrones. That was a major distraction. And then obviously the population of Game of Thrones has led to him becoming this massive celebrity in the TV media and book world now. So on top of that, though, I think the other major thing is the fact that The Winds of Winter is an incredibly massive book that has got to basically take us from the middle of the story to the beginning of the end of the story. And arguably, can you really do that in one book? Chances are no. So it's not that he won't finish it. It's probably that he can't finish it. He can't finish The Winds of Winter because he wants to do 7 books and he can't wrap this up in 7 books. I don't think he can coherently get to where he needs to get to in The Winds of Winter. Now, I could be wrong, and I might be wrong, because a piece of hope was given to me last year when George said that the Tyrion Lannister chapters are finished. And arguably, Tyrion is one of the most important characters in the story because he's been everywhere. And he's the furthest east at the moment, from what I understand, in the map. So he'd never said where Tyrion ends up. My guess is Dragonstone, which is right to the west, just before Westeros, when Rhaenyra is in House of the Dragon. So that's the only thing that gives me hope, is the fact that he is developing these chapters, and it's just going to take him a lot of time to get there. The other thing is, though, and I wanted to react to this video, is this guy, this Jimmy Nuts, basically claims in this video, and I'll try and put this in the comments after, he claims on the Bend the Knee podcast that the book, from whatever George has written for the book, can't be binded into so many pages. And he's at a point now where he's basically finished all of the writing, but he's having to cut down, or he's having some sort of editing war with his editors and with the publishers. So what he's done can't fit into one book, because bear in mind, what he attempts to do is, George, is to, in the UK it's different, but for other publications of the Winds of Winter, it needs to fit in one book. And I think you can probably only get up to about 1,500 pages in a book without the binding breaking. Now, in the UK, it's a bit different because the books are split. So I've got A Dance with Dragons and A Storm of Swords split between two books. So technically in the UK, the A Song of Ice and Fire series is going to be, 9 books, if A Dream of Spring is only one book. Now, I actually think A Dream of Spring is going to be fairly easy to write, and I think it will write itself. Now, just checking the chat, not only was he a consultant, but he was also involved in the Elden Ring game. Fantastic point, LG. Yes, he was involved in the Elden Ring game. So now he's actually been brought in to do stuff outside of TV, media, and books. He's now in the video game industry as well. So it's another notch on his bedpost. It's another distraction. It's something else taken away from him developing these chapters and developing the Winds of Winter. The trouble is, right, fair play to him, George. He's created this amazing story and he's created this amazing world, and he doesn't really have to finish it. I want him to finish it because I want to know what happens legitimately at the end of that story, because it's probably the greatest story I've ever read. But in his eyes, I don't think he has to finish it. Now, it's a burden. It's a burden because it's so complex and it's so long, and he wants to keep it within 7 books. He's set that kind of page limit to 1,500 pages, and he's got to finish that book in 1,500 pages in a coherent manner to set up for A Dream of Spring. Now, my point to this is, once he releases The Winds of Winter, I guarantee you on that day, on the hour that he releases it, where's The Winds of Winter, George? Where's A Dream of Spring, George? When's that coming out? When are we going to get that, George? That's all he'll get then until he releases it. The only other thing I can think of is that he's doing both at the same time, but I absolutely doubt that. Absolutely. So I'm hoping he does, but we'll see. So yeah, so we've got that to look forward to. Hopefully the Winds of Winter in 2025. Will we get that? The other thing I just wanted to quickly check out was the behind the scenes from A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which looks pretty spot on versus the source material. Now, from what I understand, this is going to be either a 4-episode or a 6-episode series coming, I think it's this year. The first season of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is based on the first novella in Martin's series, The Hedge Knight, which chronicles how Dunk and Egg met at the Tory of Ashford Meadow in the Reach. There are tilts, there's a melee, there's a puppet show, and it's like the country fair has come to town with more blood. It's actually a fantastic book, the first one. The casting looks spot on as well, and I've just got IMDb up just to have a quick look at the casting. But it's coming in 2025, and it's coming in the lull between Season 2 and Season 3 of House of the Dragon. So let's just get back to the... So here we go. So it's coming out in 2025. I don't think it's had a release day yet. I could be wrong, though. Let's just see. No, I don't think it has had a release date yet. Let me just check, actually. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. No, it's just late 2025. So that may even get pushed back, to be honest. But what have we got then? So we've got Arian Brightflame, who plays a great part, actually. That's a great bit of casting. Peter Claffey. Now, from what I've seen on the pictures, he looks like Dunk the Lunk to me. He looks fab. And, oh, we got some photos here, actually. Yeah, he looks like Dunk to me. He just looks brilliant. What a great casting choice. Also, the guy playing Egg looks fab as well. Let's just zoom in here. Yeah, he looks fantastic. Breakspear is pretty spot on. Makar, pretty spot on. Who else we got? Pennytree. Tanzel. Is that... I can't remember who Tanzel is. I'm getting her confused with the main character in the second novel, which I'm guessing is going to be season 2. So, again, before this comes out, I'm going to reread The Hedge Knight and get up to speed with this. But as for Dunk the Tall and Egg, that casting just looks absolutely spot on. It really does. So, really looking forward to this in late 2025. Let's just read the spiel here. A century before Game of Thrones, Sir Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg wander through Westeros while the Targaryen dynasty rules the Iron Throne and dragons were still remembered. Great destinies and enemies await the incomparable friends. The book was brilliant, actually. It was a really great read, and it's only a short story. So if you're a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, I implore you to check that out as well. Bit of light bedtime reading. So let's just finish this off before we wrap up, really. I don't have to go into the Lost Lands. I've already talked about that. HBO will be debuting a new Game of Thrones prequel this year, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, based on the tales of Dunk and Egg novellas by George Martin. Is set before the Game of Thrones, but decades after House of the Dragon and other prequel series currently on air. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is smaller in scale than either of those shows. To put it simply, it's about a knight named Dunk and his precarious squire Egg. Together, they travel the Seven Kingdoms on adventures. These novellas have been politicking and character drama A Song of Ice and Fire fans are used to, but there are no dragons, there are no White Walkers, and there are no huge wars upon which the fate of Westeros hangs. This is the funnier, lighter, brighter series, at least for now. HBO's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will be coming along sometime this year, probably in the back half. HBO hasn't released much footage yet, but we will get a new behind-the-scenes pic today, which we've seen. So far, I can tell the first image popped up on IMDb before spreading around social media. So from what I'm seeing, it looks great. So let's just finish off with this. The first season of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is based on the first novella in Martin's series, The Hedge Knight, which chronicles how Dunk and Egg meet at the tourney of Ashford Meadow in the Reach. There are tilts. Oh, I've read this bit. There are tilts, there is a melee, there's a puppet show. It's like the county fair has come to town with more blood. This also means there are spectators up in the stands, which is probably what we're seeing a lot in the shot. So, from what I remember from the Hedge Knight, the main event is the trial by 7, which is basically a trial by combat, 7 versus 7, and it's absolutely epic. And it's, from what I remember, mostly about the first book, A Hedge Knight. Absolutely fantastic. That's kind of all I've wanted to go through tonight, folks. Any final thoughts in the chat? Let's just get to the chat poll. The Winds of Winter taking 100% of the vote at the moment. What we're looking forward to from the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. And I couldn't agree more. I think it's kind of on everyone's wish list, really, in this fandom. So really hoping we get some sort of update from George soon, or some sort of update or release date for it as well. Can't wait for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, though. And as for Hot Day Season 3, well, let's see, because they didn't really end that in a favourable way in Season 2, did they? So I'm really hoping that they can pull it out the bag and bring that back with a bang for Season 3. That's House of the Dragon. Let me know your thoughts before I drop. It's been great to get back to podcasting on JikGeek in the week. First one of the year, always a good one. Great to touch on a lot of stuff. And yeah, I'll try and be back for more of this content in the future. We'll try and get Beat the Leak back on for some more Marvel news, Marvel leaks. And as and when the House of the Dragon, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the Winds of Winter, Game of Thrones news drops, I'll be sure to try and cover that as soon as possible this year on another JikGeek in the Week podcast. As for the other content, like I said at the start of the show, we've got Winds of Winter content coming. I've got a Winds of Winter lined up. I'm just finalising the script for that, and then I've got to record it and edit it, etc. We've got the Final Fantasy X Hardcore Nuzlocke, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy and gaming. And then we've got the Marvel stuff. We've got the Deadpool Born Again reviews. If I can do a Captain America Brave New World review, I will. It might just be I do a review on a JikGeek in the Week podcast. So stay tuned for that. Lots to come. And yeah, really enjoyed tonight. Really enjoyed having you in the chat. And just let me know about your thoughts about stuff that's been happening in the world of Marvel and George Martin, all things George Martin, all things The Song of Ice and Fire. So if there's no other comments to be had, no other things to be said, I'll end it there, folks, and catch you on the next one. Great to see you all. Great to have you in the chat. If you enjoy the content, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the JikGeek community. And I'll see you on the next one. Catch you soon. Take it easy. Take care. And bye for now.